John chapter 5. John chapter 5. We have made it thus far in the book of John as we study this, trying to ascertain the author's original intent to his original audience. We've seen that John is concerned, very concerned about where people hold John the Baptist as opposed to where they hold Jesus. And he's constantly telling them that John is just a man, while Jesus is more than a man. Last week we looked at the healing of the pool, where Jesus went out of his way to do it on the Sabbath, went out of his way to pick a man who didn't know him and ask him if he wanted to be made well. And how that stirred up problems because he told him to get up and take his mat. And now he has picked a fight. When was the last time you picked a fight? I mean, sometimes we pick a fight, don't really know. Maybe on a subconscious level, we know we want to pick a fight. But just gone out to say, I am going to pick a fight. Can't remember, can you? Well, maybe you do remember, maybe. Jesus has decided to pick this fight. And you know who he's going to fight with? The religious people. Now, I know that I'm in the South. And I know when I say religious people, that's kind of a compliment down here. Okay, I kid you not. It took me a while to figure that out. People say, yeah, she was really religious. And that was a good thing. Right? To me, that's not really a compliment, to be a religious person. To be a spiritual person, now that to me would be a compliment. But it's possible to separate the two. It's possible to be religious without being spiritual. I mean, think about the term. I mean, people religiously go to work. Right? Some people religiously have family gatherings in the summer. Some people religiously go to fireworks every year for the 4th of July. Religious means you do it in a pattern over and over and over and over and over again. And we come to church on Sundays. We do it religiously. Right? That's not necessarily the same as being spiritual, is it? Jesus is going to pick a fight with the religious leaders in Judaism, in Jerusalem. The strange thing is, these are the right religion, right? He's picking a fight with the Jewish people. And these are the people who are trying to follow the law, which is the law that God gave to Moses, right? These are the right people. These are the right religious people. Aren't they? Right? He's not fighting against pagans. He's not getting down on the worship of Egyptian gods. He is going to take on the religious leaders of the Jewish faith in their capital. And he's going to do it on purpose. Now, on the front of your order of service, I put this idea of crossing swords. Have you ever crossed swords with somebody? It literally means you have a fight going on. You have crossed swords. And you have to know some things about the people you cross swords with and know whether it's a good idea or not to cross swords with those people. Have you ever picked a fight that was out of your league? Yeah. Jesus is going to cross swords with these religious people. And he knows them. They don't know him. So, John chapter 5. Let's start reading together. In verse 16. So, because Jesus was doing these things on the Sabbath, on purpose, on the Sabbath, it wasn't a mistake. You wouldn't like, oh man, I forgot what day it was. Okay. He was doing these things on the Sabbath. The Jews persecuted him. Jesus said to them, "My Father is always at work to this very day, and I too am working." For this reason, the Jews tried all the harder to kill him. Here's something you need to know when you cross swords with religious people. You're playing for something very serious. And you risk being killed. There is no other source, no other reason that has killed as many people as some religious faiths. And Jesus knew, going into combat with these people, crossing swords with them, that it was going to mean somebody was going to die. He knew that. When and if you ever want to cross swords with religious people, know this. They take this stuff very, very, very serious. You could end up dying. Because this is so very important to them. And Jesus knew that. Now, you've got, well, let's see what happens. He says, but he says, for this reason the Jews tried all the harder to kill him, not only because he was breaking the Sabbath, but he was even calling God his own Father, making himself equal with God. Okay. There's a nuance that we call God Father all the time, right? We took the, we said the Lord's Prayer this morning, right? Our Father who art in heaven. To them, this meant something entirely different. And because of that, we need to step out of our cultural, historical landmarks and step into theirs. When they use the term son of, what they meant was you had the same nature as. Barnabas was called the son of encouragement in the Bible. He had the same nature as encouragement. Jesus looked at the two brothers, John and James, right? And called them sons of thunder. Which meaning that they were a big boom and that was about it. Okay. We use this phrase sometimes. I mean, I can tell he's your son by, the way he acts, the way he doesn't act, the way he dresses, doesn't dress. You've got your father's eyes, that kind of thing. Son of means you have the same nature as. You're going to find these two terms in this text. Jesus is going to be called the Son of God. The very nature, the very essence of God. He's also going to be called the Son of man. Having the very nature, the very essence of man. Jesus has just called himself the Son. He said, my Father's working on Saturdays, by the way. I don't know if you guys know that. Right? Now, that would bother a Jewish person. Because Jesus, it started with God rested on Saturday, and he thinks you ought to rest on Saturday. Right? The Sabbath. Jesus said, I got to tell you guys something. And first off, God doesn't need rest. Number two is, he's at work. He's at work on Saturday. Do you not pray on Saturday? Because God just said, hey, just leave me a message. I'll get back to you on Sunday. Okay, it's my day off. In case of emergency, call. No, God is at work on Saturday. And he said, I am like God. I am at work also, because that's where I saw it. I see God at work. I'm at work on Saturday. That really got to them. He's making himself equal with God. And he's breaking one of their favorite rules, which is you can't work on Saturday. You just can't do it.